So today's webinar is all about how to rekindle your inner fire and to get back that spark. Many of us feel like we've lost our inner spark, and the fire that once burned inside is kind of like a little tiny ember now. Or maybe it's completely gone and you can't even find it, and that's okay too. We are exhausted. It's been a long few years, hasn't it? We're run down, and quite frankly, we're tired of doing everything for everyone except for ourselves. This changes today. Today, we choose to fuel our inner fire, give ourselves all that we need to thrive instead of simply surviving. Today, we choose no's over yeses, boundaries over doormats, shining our light bright instead of suppressing who we are. But how do we do this? I've spent the last 15 years developing a method to do just that. And I know it works because I've used it not only on myself, but on dozens of clients just like you who are looking for answers. You see, it's no longer enough to simply intellectualize about doing your inner work. It's no longer enough. We have to actually experience the work in order to heal and move forward. So before we get into the nitty-gritty, let me introduce myself. My name is Raina Sweeney, and I'm a ICF professional certified coach. I specialize in emotional wellness and burnout. I am a internal family systems practitioner who is also depression, anxiety, and ADHD informed. I have over 10 years experience coaching people just like you into their ideal lives. You see, my life wasn't always full of joy and fulfillment. I didn't always feel in alignment with who I am at my core. I wasn't always this confident, balanced person you see in front of you today. I've struggled with mental health my entire life, trying desperately to prove that I was good enough, that I'm worthy of love, that I was capable. And sure, the fact that I grew up in an alcoholic family, codependent family, had a lot to do with it. But we'll get into that kind of stuff later. So at age 19, I endured a severe concussion that changed my life. I went from having the memory of a genius level brain to having the memory of a little tiny goldfish. And while that's cute, doesn't work so well. My mood swings I was already experiencing were magnified times 1,000. At age 21, I had my first nervous breakdown. I became depressed, then started self-harming, which slid right into suicidal, then pure apathy and numbness mixed with extreme highs. The only time I came out was when I felt good, so no one knew just how much I was suffering deep down under the surface. After all, I was the person you called for a good time. The party never started until I showed up. And people were constantly saying things like, how the hell do you run a health clinic full time and go to school at the same time? I was Superwoman, and my kryptonite was me. I was my own worst enemy. No one could hurt me as badly as I could hurt myself. I was guarded. I was whomever the people around me needed me to be in order for them to be happy, because if everyone else around me was happy, then I was safe. I had strived so long to be everything to everyone else that I had completely lost myself. I was a chameleon, molding myself into whomever anyone needed me to be. Sure, people liked me and they felt connected to me, supported by me, loved by me, but I felt empty and disconnected, scattered, and terrified that someone was going to find out the real me. I realized I had created a life where I felt like nobody really knew me deep down inside. I didn't even know me deep down inside. So I started desperately searching for answers. I read all the books, and I mean all the books. I studied nutrition. I read chemistry, brain chemistry, meditation, communication, supplementation, therapy modalities, acupressure, internal family systems, the mind-body connection, hormones, you name it. I studied it and tried it. Step by step, little by little, over 15 years, I finally found something that brought me back to me. And it not only worked for me, but it works for my clients too. What I'm about to share with you is a very simplified version of the exact program that I've created over those 15 years of research and life experience. This program isn't for the faint of heart. So if you aren't willing to allow yourself to experience the work, I kindly suggest that you come back when you are. But if you stay and allow yourself to be broken open, I promise you, you will never regret it. And the life you will be thriving in just a few months will be completely worth it. Okay, so let's dive in. So there are 3 steps to this life-changing system called the trust cycle. So the whole system is called the trust cycle. The 3 steps, the first is that we access your perception of yourself and the world around you to break through your limiting beliefs that you've developed during childhood using an energy leadership index assessment and internal family systems, or otherwise known as IFS. Then we explore your core values and why you value them, where they came from, and how they're affecting your life. Lastly, we guide you through the process of creating and holding healthy boundaries. Yes, it will be easy to stick to them this time. These are these 3 begin the trust cycle within yourself and calm your nervous system naturally. Once this trust cycle is established, your body automatically comes out of this fight or flight that we're all stuck in and into your parasympathetic system, or the relaxed and calm state where confidence, motivation, and balance live. Why is this so important? Because so many of us have grown up in really stressful situations or households, or experienced trauma or neglect, and have created our adult lives that keep us in a stress cycle where our bodies are constantly stuck in fight or flight. In order to flip the switch and allow ourselves to feel completely safe within our bodies, we must first establish the trust cycle within us. So let's dive into step number 1. Assessing your perception of yourself and the world around you so you can break through the limiting beliefs that were developed during childhood. And we do that by using the Energy Leadership Index. So this has the word leadership in it. So for anybody listening right now who is in a leadership position at work, This is extremely important for you. And it's extremely important for anybody who doesn't feel like they are in a leadership position, because what we're looking at here are the lenses in which we lead our own life, how we're showing up for ourselves, how we're showing up for other people. And then we use an internal family system modality that really gets at the heart of how these belief systems were developed, usually coming from our childhood. And they're usually pretty hard to access unless you have some sort of modality, and internal family systems is that, or IFS. You may have heard the word IFS instead. So first, we assess your perception of who you are and how you move through the world, and that's with the Energy Leadership Index assessment. This shows your specific belief system about yourself and the world around you, and what is holding you back and keeping you feeling stuck. Then we remove those blocks and limiting beliefs and replace them with a belief system that actually supports you and the life that you want. As I said earlier, one of the ways that we do this is by diving deep into your internal world through the internal family system. So let's see if I can pull this off and share my screen with y'all. All right, here we go. So this is your internal family system. Some of you might be familiar with this. This might be completely new information for the others. So this is a very simplified chart. It shows your core self here in the middle. And your core self, or your true self, is compassion, is calm, is curious, connected, confident, courageous, creative, and clear, or clarity. These are the 8 C's of IFS. When you're experiencing any of these, you are experiencing your true, authentic self. Now, because we're humans and we have a human experience, when we were brought into this world, we were our true selves. All of these things were present. And then through our experiences and hurts and traumas and stressful situations and less than supportive situations, we've created different parts. And those 3 parts, or 3 categories of parts, we have many parts within these 3 categories. We have your exiles. That's your younger child. A lot of people have heard of doing inner child work. This kind of is that concept. So this is your inner child that's carrying the burden of all the painful memories and beliefs. So this is where I'm not good enough. I'm unlovable. I'm unworthy. This is where sadness, hurt, shame, loneliness, grief and loss, dependency, and anger come from. These are the parts that are holding all of this. And then we have our 2 protector parts. We have our managers and we have our firefighters. So both of their jobs is to protect the exile, to protect that part that is holding all of this pain. Firefighters are the reactive parts. So when an exile is triggered, like a scab is taken off the wound and it's bleeding, a firefighter will try to soothe the exile's bleeding wound or distract from it. This looks like addictions, dissociation from your body, angry. This looks like promiscuity, self-harming behaviors, violence, binge eating, drinking too much, compulsion, obsession, eating disorders, anything that looks like someone's acting out. It's this part that's trying to distract from an exile. And then on the other hand, we have our managers. And this is a different kind of protector. These are the parts that are trying to keep you in control and stop you from feeling anything that the exile's carrying. So an example, so there are controlling parts. They're the planner. They are the inner critic. They're judgmental. They're pessimist. They're people pleasers. They're perfectionists. These are the parts that say, if I could just get everything right, then I'll be safe. If I could just do enough, if I could just say the right things, if I could control everyone else around me, make them happy, make them okay, then I'm safe and I'm protected. These are also the parts that look like a very high-driven, successful person who is extremely stressed out under the surface. They push and push and push and push and push until they have nothing left to give. That's not really who you are. That's just simply a manager who's taken over to protect you from feeling some hurt or trauma or beliefs about yourself that can be kind of damaging. So this is our internal family system, and it works beautifully together. There's nothing wrong with any of these parts. In fact, they're what's gotten you this far in life. And so part of this is recognizing that and thanking them for doing their jobs so beautifully. And also acknowledging that maybe some of their jobs are doing a little bit more damage now than they are good. Maybe they used to get you through life, but maybe now they're kind of holding you back a little bit. And that's simply because they don't know the true self. So the more and more we work with this, the more and more we get introduced to our true self that hold all those 8 C's. And the more and more we integrate the system, assign different jobs to these different parts so that we can function together as a whole, and they can have jobs that the whole system actually enjoys. So that's just a little snippet of how IFS works. Now let's go back and see how technical I can get and stop sharing. There we go. I think it worked. Awesome. Good. So that's just a really brief view of internal family systems, but it's very complex and very, very deep. And I know some of you are looking at that chart going, oh my gosh, is that why I feel like I have multiple people living inside me? Or I feel like I'm 2 people at once? Or I have all these conflicting ideas and thoughts and all of that? It's totally normal. It's completely normal to have all of that going on inside of you. And with this work, we can sort all of that out so that you get to know your true core, your inner self that has been there all along. It just might have been covered up by these other parts. All right, let's move on to the second step in creating this trust cycle for yourself. So we dive deep into your core values to make sure you are in alignment with your belief system and what you value most. So most people think they know what their core values are, but they don't know why they value them or where they came from or how they're actually affecting their life. This is crucial because most of us tend to grow up in a household that wasn't very supportive. It was more strict, it was critical, and had very high expectations. This can be dangerous since we derive the majority of our core values from our family and adolescent years. This means that if we are running off of those passed down values that created the deep need to avoid judgment, criticism at all costs, then we create a life where we are constantly shape-shifting or being a chameleon to please those around us. This is really important, so I'm going to say it again. When we're adolescents, we are being taught our family values by the adults around us. We learn to live our lives by those values so that we fit in and function well within our family. As we grow up, these become the norm. Then, by the time we're adults, those same values have become so ingrained in us that we think they are who we are and how we must function in this world. We are running off of the same values and beliefs that created the deep need to constantly be and do everything for everyone in order to keep the peace and get external validation to know that we are good. So once we align ourselves with our true core values, not just the ones that were passed down to us, but with our true core values, the ones that are actually supportive of the life we want to live, then we are able to free ourselves so then we're able to free ourselves from judgment or rejection. That fear of judgment and that fear of rejection, we can free ourselves from that. This creates a deep calm within. The third step in creating the trust cycle is getting your brain out of fight or flight. And that is creating your true core values. So that creates that calmness within you to know that you are safe, that you're leading your life in accordance with your true core values. So then we move on. So this is actually our 3-step. Got a little lost there. So our third step is creating our boundaries off of those true core values. And this is the completion of that trust cycle that you're building within yourself. So we're creating reliable and sustainable boundaries, ones that are easy to hold now because you've done all the previous work. You've gone through that, right? You've realized your true self. So now when you are holding these boundaries, it becomes a lot more easy. We've all heard the word boundary or boundaries thrown around, but do we really know what they mean and why we need them? I didn't. 15 years ago, I had no idea how to hold a boundary, or I thought I knew, but I didn't. And now that I've gone through this, I've done this work, I really actually understand what boundaries are for. A lot of us think that boundaries tell other people, how and who they can be around us. We've used them as weapons to change someone, or we've expected others to adhere to our boundaries and don't understand why they keep pushing past them. The truth is that boundaries are not for other people. They are for ourselves. I'll repeat that. Boundaries are not for other people. They are for ourselves. Boundaries teach us where and with whom we want to spend our time and energy, and if a situation, job, person, experience is in alignment with us or not. Boundaries don't tell others how to act or behave. They tell us how to act or behave. If one of our boundaries is broken, how will we act to keep ourselves safe and in alignment with who we are? For instance, say our boss keeps asking us to work late every night for a few hours. We've told them that we can't keep working late because we have other family obligations, but they keep asking and we keep staying late. We might go home and complain to our family and friends that we keep trying to set boundaries at work, but our boss keeps pushing past them. Eventually, this will feel very offensive because we believe that we have set a boundary and that our boss doesn't respect our core value of family. However, each time we work late, we are expressing to our boss that we don't mean what we say. We are also operating out of alignment with our core value of family. Stating a line and expecting someone else to hold that line is not actually setting a boundary. Instead, setting a boundary looks like this. Boss says, we're going to have to work late again tonight. You say, actually, I've expressed a couple of times that I have family obligations and I'm not able to work late. With that in mind, I'm excited to work on this project, and I'll give you an update when I leave at 5 today. Then I'll pick back up tomorrow morning, and moving forward, I will only be able to work late for 2 hours every other Tuesday. Another example, we've told the new person that we're dating that when they show up late without communicating, it makes us feel worried, like they don't really care. They think we're blowing it out of proportion and ignore our requests to text or call if they'll be running late. This then leads to arguments and us shoving down our feelings to please the other person. While it may feel like we have set a boundary with our new beau, we are actually not actively honoring our core value of communication because we keep choosing to spend time with someone who doesn't value communication at all. So what does it look like to hold a boundary in this example? Okay, maybe the first time we simply tell them how it makes us feel and ask for what we need, communication. If they continue to show up late and not communicate, then this is our signal that this person is someone who is not in alignment with us or our core values, and therefore isn't someone to expend a lot of energy and time on. Holding clear boundaries often means that we have to take action to align our behaviors with our core values. So remember, we can only control our actions and not others. Once we do the work to determine our core values, we can begin to hold our own boundaries. This allows us to move from suppressing who we are to igniting that fire within and shining bright. Our body begins to replenish itself from the exhaustion of being everything to everyone except ourselves. We are more able to feel confident, motivated, and balanced within ourselves. Once we start living our life this way, our whole life aligns with our core values, increasing satisfaction and balance in all aspects of our life. And pretty soon, you'll be able to look around and see a life that is in complete alignment with your core self. Now, if you had the choice between doing this all by yourself without any guidance and having someone who has already gone through it time and time again with herself and her clients, help you, guide you, work with you to get the results, which would you choose? Type 1 in the chat if you'd prefer to go it alone. No harm done. Type 2 in the chat if you'd rather have help and guidance. Wonderful. Great. Tons of twos. Love it. Wonderful. Okay. So now another question for you. How would you like for me to show you exactly what it would look like to have that guidance and support? Again, type 2 in the comments or the chat if you would like for me to share an offer I put together to help you rekindle your inner fire again and embrace your own true confidence, lasting motivation, and calming balance in your life. I'm already seeing a ton of twos come in. You guys are great. Wonderful. Wonderful. Good. That's great, because if you want to finally have that confidence in your life instead of always doubting yourself, this program is for you. I literally made it for you. You know what you are capable of. Now let's ignite that fire within. There are two options to choose from. Option one is you have one-on-one customized live coaching with me. And this is catered specifically to your specific needs. We cover the trust cycle and much, much more in that. Option number two is our group coaching trust cycle program, where you learn, practice, and master everything we've covered here today and so much more. You not only get unique attention placed on you in every session, you also have an online platform for extra support between sessions to ensure this program works for you. We meet once a week and we create this beautiful community. So this is not a course that you watch some videos and hope for results. You will be able to ask questions in real time and get live weekly coaching on your personal situation. So what's the first step? It's to simply say yes to yourself. Give yourself the love and support that you so freely give to others. To turn all of that caring, love, and compassion back around on yourself and take the first step to learning how to put yourself first without feeling selfish, instead of feeling drained by always doing everything for everyone else. It's exhausting. I know, I've been there. Allow yourself to release yourself from that grasp. Allow yourself to say, yes, I am worth this. And book a Come As You Are call with me right now. I'll put the link in the comments. Here we go. Link is coming. All right, there it is. Okay, so that is your first step. Take that step. Book that call. I want to hear all about it. I'm here for you. But don't wait, because this program that will teach you exactly how to rekindle that fire within you that you know is there and allow you to step into your true confidence only has a few spots left. And I really want to make sure that you get in, because you are worth it. So click the link in the comments and reserve your spot right now. There's no pressure to sign up. No sales gimmicks, promise. I loathe those. No inflated prices. Just the guidance and support that you've been longing for. Even if you're still a little unsure or just have some questions about what we covered today, book a call so I can answer those questions for you to clarify anything. I am truly here to support you in any way I can and would love to hear from you. In fact, if you're still here watching this, I know I can support you in your healing journey. Sometimes it's really hard to take that first step, and that's okay. But if you're here with me right now, I encourage you to allow yourself to take that step and simply book a call with me. I'd love to hear from you. Thank you, everyone, for showing up today, not only to this webinar, but for yourself as well. Regardless of what happens from here on out, each and every one of you should be proud that you showed up and are willing to do what it takes to make changes that you need. I can't wait to meet you. And better yet, I bet you can't wait to meet yourself.